Are your kitchen and bathroom remodels a little overdue? Well, now's your chance to call First Response Contracting. John Sellers will take care of you. 484-256-7136. They do residential and commercial, and they're licensed and insured. Give them a call at 484-256-7136. Hi, this is Brad Weisman. I'm going to be doing something a little different over the next couple months. It's not the Brad Weisman Show. It's not a real estate show. It's going to be just my thoughts and experiences collectively over the past, pretty much all my life. There's things that I've been told that are my superpowers. There's things that I've discovered that I think are my superpowers. And I wanted to share them with you. I wanted you to see my thoughts, hear my thoughts on this type of level. This is my first time doing this. I've never done a recording like this before, but it's something that I'm excited about. I'm excited about doing stuff like this more often, where I share my feelings, my thoughts, my experiences, hoping that it's going to help other people in whatever they're dealing with in life. Maybe this will be helpful. So the first topic that I've been talking about for a while, and I've been bringing this up, and I'm talking about writing a book, and it hasn't happened yet, of course. I don't have a book yet, but I wanted to share these thoughts and see what the audience thinks or what you think, to see if it's worthwhile to put this in a book, because I'm not sure how many people are going to listen to what I'm saying right now. The main topic, or the two main topics, I should say, and these are the things that I'm struggling with this book, is, one is building relationships and one is trust. And obviously, the two of those are very much related because, in order to get trust, you need to build relationships. And then there's things about trust that are interesting, is that you have long-term trust that are like your parents, your family, your brother, your sister, or a friend that you've had for, since kindergarten. Those are long-term trusts. So they've been built for a very long time. If you want to look at it this way, those type of trusts, you can probably, either one of you could screw up or do something that maybe wasn't as integrity based, and you'll still have them as your best friend, your mother, your father, brother, and they will forgive you for that. In any type of business or sales, we don't have that type of trust. We have short-term trust or short-term relationship building, which is not the easiest to do. It's definitely not. And it's one of the things that I've been told over my life that I have kind of if you want to call it a superpower. I think that word gets thrown around too often lately. But I have a way of meeting people, getting to know them, or discovering them. And this is a thing that I've written about now on this stuff that I'm going to be telling you. Is there's two different things when you meet a person. The one is meeting the person, which is basically like you're in an airport, walking down through, hey, how you doing? You say hi, or you meet him coming out of the bathroom, or you meet him, whatever. There's no questions back and forth. There's nothing. It's just basically a meet. Or you meet somebody at a party. They say, hey, my name's Dan, and you shake their hand, and that's over. Then there's the other part of meeting somebody, which I call discovery and curiosity. The discovery part is when you actually become curious about that person. And that's how you build relationships. So there's a quote I have, and the quote is, my experience and or knowledge is only as good as your trust in it. That's a quote that I wrote down May 8th, 2019. Don't know why, it just kind of hit me. And I think from being in business over the past 33 years as a realtor, what I noticed, I have a lot of experience now in real estate. And what I've noticed is people don't always really care about those 33 years. And John Maxwell has a great quote. He said, people will care what you know when they know that you care. And that's kind of where I'm going with this a little bit, is that, people won't really care about your experience or trust, there's that word again, trust your experience until you have a relationship with them, or they have a reason to trust you. This is why we need to, as salespeople or in any situation, is to build those relationships as fast as we can so that we can have them trust us as fast as we can. So here's more about that quote. So my experience in end-to-end knowledge is only as good as your trust in it. So here's where this goes. I've been thinking about that quote, coming up with more realizations about that quote. And what I'm finding is it's really interesting because it's about building rapport with your clients in order for your knowledge and experience to actually mean something to them. Okay? Which comes back to the word trust in that quote. So what you're saying doesn't mean anything to them. Your experience doesn't mean anything to them because they don't trust you. Okay? So if you want your clients or customers to take in your experience and your knowledge, you need to build that bond. Connect with them and then share what you know. Show them you care and they'll care what you know. Back to the John Maxwell. What's interesting about this is your experience and knowledge is not measured by how long you've been in business. It's measured by how much you're trusted by those that receive it. With that being said, this is the reason that you could find a new person in business, a new person, a new realtor, a new salesperson, a new whatever it is, that may have very little knowledge, but will win the business of somebody before a more experienced person, because the new person may be better at building relationships, therefore winning over that customer's trust. So right there, you could actually be losing business, losing customers, losing clients because you never got good at building relationships and trust in a short period of time. To keep going on this, the new person may have less to share, but they've gained more trust. They only have a little bit of knowledge, but the client trusts them. So that's the reason they pick them, because that means relationships mean more in many situations than your experience. So if you have a ton more experience, but no one trusts you, what are you sharing? What it means nothing. So if you think only learning something, only being book smart, only being the most experienced and having the most wisdom, you think that's everything that's going to get you further in life, I think you should question yourself on that, because I don't think that's exactly true. So furthermore, the realization that my experience and knowledge doesn't change from client to client, but what does change is the level of trust the client has in my experience. So my experience is always the same. My knowledge is pretty much the same. Yes, it's growing. I'm learning more, all those things. But the thing that changes is the trust that the current client has in me. And that means certain people need to be treated differently in order to gain the trust. Okay? And that's because certain people approve your trust or approve your information differently. An engineer is going to be different than an artist. An artist is going to be more of the warm and fuzzy person. They're probably going to be a little bit easier for my personality to warm up to or for them to trust me. The engineer is not going to be maybe as warm and fuzzy. So you got to be a little bit more about details, things like that. And then once they see that your numbers and your details were correct, then that engineer will start trusting you. Okay? Back to that again. The realization that my experience and knowledge does not change from client to client. But what does change is the level of trust the client has in my experience. That makes the difference. Trust is absolutely the most important part of any relationship. The skill is in building it. Trying to rush trust can come across as fake or salesy. So be careful with that. Be very careful with that. So how do we gain trust from another? How do we gain it? What do we do? We don't have the time that our parents and our brothers and sisters and friends from kindergarten had to build that trust. We don't have that time. So we have to get really good at fine-tuning our relationship building. That's the part that gets to be fun. So one of the first things you can do, and these are the easy things, set expectations and then follow through. If you say you're going to be somewhere at 9 a.m., be there. Be early. Be there. Bam, that gives you a trust point, okay? But people want to see you do what you say you will do. Repetition of this is what builds more and more trust. So keep setting those expectations, following through, and that will give you trust points. Show that you've had challenges in life and share what worked for you. People want to know that you failed. People want to know that you are not perfect. People want to know that you've been through certain things before. Be vulnerable, open and caring, and that'll move you closer to trust. So you're going to ask me, why do we trust? Why do we trust? Or how do we trust? Who do we trust? Where does it come from? Well, it starts with our parents. They're the first people we trust in most cases. Not speaking for everybody. Not everybody has a relationship or has, been on the good side of maybe parenting their whole life or being parented. But for 99% of the time. Okay. So since the first day, our parents have guided us. What'd they say? Don't touch the stove. It's hot. We touch the stove because that's what we do. And they were right. It was hot. It hurt. You may want to walk around instead of jumping off that landscape wall because you're going to get hurt. You jump because that's what we do. And you get hurt. Okay, so those two things our parents told us at a young age. Both of those things they told us came true. Those are trust points. Now, this happens 16, 17, 18 years in a row. Of course, there's a point in your teenage years where you know more than your parents, but that's a different story there. So this happens many, many times a day. We learn to trust what they said until we become teenagers. And then, like I said, we don't believe anything. So we want to build relationships. Now, I'm going to tell you a little bit about why I think I'm good at building relationships, which then ends up turning into trust. And I think the main reason I think I've been good at building relationships, and people say, oh my God, I feel like I've known you forever. And these are not things I'm saying to pat myself in the back. It's just things, there's things that we all have something we're good at. Okay. These are the things that I've learned over the years that I've heard from other people because they've told me that these are things that I'm good at. And one of the reasons I think I'm good at it is because of this. I moved many times as a kid, many, many times. We moved around. Oh man, we moved around a lot. Let me just say let's just put it this way. Kindergarten I was at, our first school was at one place. Okay. From there we moved, and the next place we moved back, I think, with my grandparents. Okay. So actually, no, grandparents just born. That's where we lived. We moved to Mountain, another town. Doesn't really matter what the town is. It's the first house my parents owned. It was in government-owned schools. That's where we were. Okay. So from there, we moved to Twin Valley Schools, another school district, another home. It was in, Twin Valley. It was in Plowville, actually. Not to say this was a good time, but I ended up, we called it back then, flunking first grade. I couldn't read at a good level. So I had to watch all my friends go to the next grade as I stayed behind. Huge education in building relationships. If you want to build relationships or learn how to build relationships, be held back a grade when you're a kid. So we then moved from there to Conrad Weiser, another school, okay? We, at one point before we moved there, we moved back to my grandparents, which was another school. And then we ended up at another house. So I think it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times we moved, plus I flunked first grade. I'll tell you what happens when you do that. When you move that many times, and by the way, this is nothing against my parents. These were all reasons that we moved were good. We were building new houses, found new homes. My parents were improving our lives and our lifestyle, things like that. And it was all good. But we moved. And I think what happened, all this moving around to different houses and different schools and different neighborhoods, it cultivated my skills at discovering new people, not just meeting them, discovering them. Curiosity is what happens when we discover people. The curiosity is what helps us discover people. but it's genuine curiosity. It's not just asking a question or how are you doing? It's really kind of, without being nosy, digging in, finding who they are, what makes them tick, what makes them who they are, laughing with them, asking them about their family. So it forced me to put my hand out first, introduce myself, and naturally interact with people the first time I met them, as though I've known them forever, because I knew after moving 7 times, I was good at that. But I wasn't good at it right away. When I flunked first grade, I remember bawling my eyes out to my parents saying, don't do this to me. All of your friends go ahead and you stay there. And it's not like you'll never see those friends again. They're moving 1 grade ahead, maybe 1 classroom different. Moving to a school is different. But having your friends move ahead of you, that was definitely some character building. But to the good. I think it's what it really is, the foundation of me building relationships and learning how to get along with people. So there's a big difference between meeting somebody in comparison to actually discovering somebody. We meet people all the time, like I said before, on a plane, a mall, grocery store. That's not what we do when we discover people. We just want to be able to know the difference of that. There's no depth in just meeting somebody. It goes no further than a hello. But be careful not to treat all people that way. In business, it's in life, it's good to know the difference between meeting and discovering. Now, we can't discover everybody. We wouldn't have time. But discovering goes so much deeper. It shows you care. It shows you're interested in them. Now, of course, a major part of discovering a person is listening, not just hearing, listening. Also, don't ask the question just to ask the question. Sincerity in discovering of people comes from authentic curiosity. That's something that I feel I have a podcast called The Brad Weisman Show, and I think, I call it spontaneous curiosity, but I love authentic curiosity. How about spontaneous, authentic curiosity? We do that too. And I think, the reason what that means is you don't want to just ask questions like you're sitting there going through a checklist. Be curious. It's so important to be curious. Don't worry. Curiosity only killed the cat. It did not kill people. Okay. So I think sometimes, we hear that curiosity killed the cat. No, I'm not down with that. That's a cat. It's not people. Now, some people, yes, maybe will be tough to get to know. And then you got to know when to back off. Don't forget about eye contact, body language, sometimes repeating back when they say something. So that's about all I have for right now. I wanted to just give this a shot to see if it's something that people like. Do you want to hear more about trust? Do you want to hear more about building relationships? Do you want to know more about why it's important to be able to build relationships? Would you want to know about discovering your talents and your gifts and what that means? Those are other things that topics that I have. I have topics about failure, all kinds of different things. So let me know if this is something that you enjoyed. And if it is, I'll do more of it. All right. Thanks a lot. Hey guys, this is Brad Weisman from The Brad Weisman Show. I don't know if you remember this, but a couple months ago, I had these 3 guys on. They have a company called Bro Glow. Well, I have to tell you, I've been using their product now for several months, and I really, really like it. It gives you a nice tan. It's not orange. It's not blotchy. It's very, very even. They tell you how to apply it. And my mom and dad are using it. My wife is using it. And a lot of my friends are using it. It's an amazing product. So if you're looking to get a little tan before the summer hits, this is the way to go. Go to thebroglow.com, put in the discount code BRADW for 10% off. All right. Thanks for watching the show.